I'm with Gautham Vasudev Menon, producer and director of his latest film, Nadunisi Naigal, and he's also the chief creative officer and co-founder of Photon Katha's, his production house. We're sitting outside in his balcony looking at the sea. Is this where you sit and write?
No, I don't write, as in I don't write here, I write in my room there. But I use this to edit my films, and it's a nice place to just, just spend a lot of time, that's it.
So is this where you sat and wrote the script for Nadunisi?
No, Nadunisi was actually written at home and at Amethyst, which is why I've given like a thanks card to Amethyst. Ndtv was written in my apartment in Hyderabad, and I write when I'm traveling mostly, so I just use this place to collect a lot of thoughts and stuff like that, not actually sit and write.
You know, the last time we met was at a program called Out for Lunch, where it was on the eve of the release of Vinay Thandivarabaya, and you kind of knew the mood of the public. You told me that I would like the film, and you were very upbeat. But before the release of Nadunisi, you told me that I would not like the film and that I may say terrible things about it in my review. So how are you so perceptive?
Vinay is like I wouldn't call it a safe film, but it was still about a girl and talked about the psyche of this particular girl and about this guy. There were a lot of songs, and it's a feel-good film, whatever it is, Nadunisi is not a film that you can like, so if you hated it, I'm fine with that. But it's a film that it's meant to be disturbing and shocking, and if you ask me why I made it because of all that. I wanted to make a sort of a disturbing film. That's the kind of I don't want people to hate the film. I didn't want like half-empty theatre screens and stuff like that, theatre halls, which is what's happening right now. So I think I kind of pushed the envelope a little too much here. But this is a reaction I got from my team, from the unit. And we did a focus screening with about 100 people, and everybody said very shocking, enna solran therilla, and stuff like that, So, and most of the women were like, we couldn't watch a couple of scenes on screen and stuff like that. So I said that to you, that you might find it disturbing.
I said it in a very veiled way that I didn't like it by saying that how are you so perceptive that I may not like it. No, my problem was not so much the subject matter or the way you treated it, but I thought there were several loopholes which some other critics also pointed out. I didn't review the film on my movie review show, but I mean, if we can look at specifics, for example, I'm sure you've read other critics, they've said the same thing, that when this boy is taken by Swapna in her care, she's an urban, educated, English-speaking woman. It's surprising that she would not take him to a psychiatrist. Now, this is the boy who's undergone child abuse, for people who haven't seen the film. So that was the first inconsistency that I noticed. Would you like to explain?
I wouldn't call that a loophole. If you tell me the loophole is something like, why would she actually give away everything to him and not go to the cops? That might be a loophole, but this is not. This is just a woman's perspective of how she looked at things. She thought bringing him in and taking care of him and looking after him would sort of set things right. And this in India, definitely I would say that not many people are aware that people like this need counseling and stuff like that, which is one of the mistakes that she made, and that was the guilt that was in her also, that she was somewhere responsible for not taking care of him, taking him to a counseling and stuff like that.
But legally, I thought if you could have explained a little more how he comes into her care, because you don't look at that angle at all. The cops just allow her to take this young boy, and the whole legal...
Maybe she must have done things, but that's not necessary in this kind of a screenplay, right? The story is not about that. It's about what happens after that. I would have had to spend like 5 minutes on that, and finally you would have said, that's unnecessary. So it's not a decision that I've taken. There's an editor who's sitting there. There's a whole team that's working on this project. So even if I have overlooked it, there must be like you and the other critics, other people in the unit. We're not like a dumb set of people, I'm saying, seriously. So all this was discussed, and we felt in this screenplay, those were not necessary to show a paper or a signature or her talking to lawyers and stuff like that. Wasn't necessary.
And what about the fact that when he kills her, right, or kills her and her lover, and the house is set on fire, and he moves to Chennai and comes in possession of such a large house? That's also a bit hazy, how he comes to own such a large property.
But I mean, in the hospital scene, without actually showing, it's a very experimental sort of a shot division there. You don't see her face, the camera is her, and you hear her raspy voice talking to the lawyers. There are lots of things that she says. Now, as somebody in the audience, you have to sit.
So you have to suspend your disbelief, is what you're saying.
No. She says all this. She says stuff like, I want to go to Chennai, I want to go to my house in Madras, and I want to, write away everything to this boy. And you don't know why she does that. At the end of the film, by which time you've lost patience, I think. At the end of the film, he does say that she was guilty. She was guilty about the fact that she slept with me. I was 14 years old. She was 32. And that's not allowed, legally. You can't do that. So that's why she was guilty, and that's why she gave away everything to me. That's why she didn't complain to the cops about me and stuff like that. So we've said all this. We've mentioned all this. It's just that we didn't go into details with all this. That's all.
And the fact that the police don't investigate these murders, that's also not explained.
No, he says that even there also, it's not a story about a police investigation. He says that in one line. He says when he brings Samira home and puts her on that bed, he says so many girls, no cops, no questions, no problems at all. But with this one girl and this one evening has been like hell, he says. So in that one line, you're supposed to infer that there were a lot of, there might have been, but then there were no questions asked and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think my girlfriend said the same thing. I think there was just too much explicit violence and too much sexual violence. So I think that kind of got to people.
Again, I haven't shown anything on screen. It's left for you to kind of imagine. That scene where, Meenakshi and Veera are on bed and he forces himself on her. The camera doesn't go beyond her face. So it's left to your imagination. So it's what's in your head. Seriously.
That's a very clever way of putting it.
Seriously, I mean, it's an Indian context.
You're talking about one scene there, but there's lots of other scenes as well.
But I haven't shown
violence
anything. Even the knife coming down is not. You take any film that comes out these days, the kind of stuff that they show on television, women's navels and stuff like that. You can't actually sit and watch that. There's not one exposure or there's not one skin show in this film at all.
So now that you've very, very cleverly done the whole transference theory and said it's what's in the audience's mind is what we have projected, why do you think the reaction has been like this?
See, again,
I mean, your movies are
having said all this, I know that this is a kind of film that will not be accepted easily. And the same film, we showed it to a lot of filmmakers in Bombay and the reaction was totally different. Here, I had to fight against my own image of the films that I've made, the baggage that I've carried, which I didn't realize till this film. I've never ever taken myself seriously. I've never thought, okay, I have this audience that likes my films and perceives this from my films and stuff like that. This time around, we got the opening because of my name is what the trade says. And then everybody said there's not a film that we expected from Gautham. So what is Gautham? I don't know till this film. In Bombay, when we showed this film to a lot of filmmakers, the reaction was very, very different. They were like, wow, what a film, and it's so technically well made and stuff like that. Is this guy high on dope and stuff like that, So that's the kind of questions they asked me. I always felt this audience is not ready for a film like this. But then having said that, if I didn't make a film like this, then I wouldn't make anything different. I don't want to restrict myself just because I'm thinking, the audience won't like something,
So you are now going to go into other genres after this?
I want to make a comedy next. I want to make a gangster film. Yeah, I'll be looking at different genres.
Pushing the envelope with each film.
Absolutely.
Stay tuned. After a short break, Gautham Vasudev Menon will talk about his production company, the audio series that they're coming out with and all his latest projects. You're watching Off the Record, where he's going on the record with whatever he has to say about Nadu Nisi. Thanks. Stay tuned.